What can I say? I live the experience of a black woman who is attacked and over-sexualized. See, I'm so tired of hearing these idiots call my name as Fani in a way to attempt to humiliate me. Because like silly schoolboys, the name reminds them of a woman's rear, of her behind. Can I take my time?
District Attorney Fani WIllis is taking aim at her critics during a speech at a Marietta church. Now, all of this comes as lawyers for former President Donald Trump and his co-defendants prepare to appeal the decision by Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee to allow her office to remain on the election interference case.
And 11 Alive's Karis Belger was inside Turner Chapel AME Church today for her remarks.
So I have a word to America today. Black women are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
While addressing the congregation at Turner Chapel AME Church, Fulton County District Attorney Fani WIllis also took time to address her critics, like former New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, one of the co-defendants in the Fulton County election interference case against former President Donald Trump.
I've heard from friends of all religious backgrounds and all races, really disgusted that in God's house, ugliness against women is celebrated and not condemned.
The remarks came less than 24 hours after WIllis filed a motion to dismiss the appeal that is seeking to have her removed from the case. If the motion is denied, the Georgia Court of Appeals will hear arguments in October. WIllis did not directly address the case, but did say she would continue to work toward what she calls her mission to make sure justice serves every member of the public.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We gotta talk about Fani WIllis, who is lashing out in desperation over the fact that she claims she is being subject to racism, bigotry, over-sexualization as a black woman, because being a black woman is so hard in Atlanta, right? It's so hard to be a black woman, okay? This is what she's saying, right? This is what she's telling people, right? And she's saying that it is anti-Christian to criticize her, right? This is what she's saying, okay, for her anti-Christian behavior, okay? I think that the anti-Christian behavior here is not the people criticizing Fani WIllis for her behavior, aka having an affair with a married man. I think that's the behavior that people are criticizing. And I think what's also not very Christian-like is to go to church and to appeal before God to try to pretend that your affair was not a big deal and that people are lying on you, even though we know for a fact that this is true, right? You admitted to breaking up, ruining this man's marriage, which, again, is an anti-Christian thing to do. But, again, if you criticize her for that, then you're the one that is a bigot, okay, and a racist, and you're over-sexualizing her like all black women are overly sexualized, okay? She didn't sexualize herself when she was out here in these streets, right, with Nathan Wade. No, she wasn't sexualizing herself. It's you sexualizing her for criticizing her over her behavior that, at the very least, is unprofessional and seems to be part of the reason why this case was delayed. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, her conduct could lead to her being kicked off the case altogether.
Prosecutor leading the case against Donald Trump in Georgia is lashing out at her critics today for, quote, anti-Christian attacks. CNN's Brian Todd has more on the fiery speech Fani WIllis just gave at an Atlanta area church.
A defiant Fulton County District Attorney delivers a message to her detractors.
Black women are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
During an appearance today at an African Methodist Episcopal church outside Atlanta, Fani WIllis talked about what she's gone through since former President Donald Trump tried to get her removed from prosecuting his election subversion case in Georgia, and since Nathan Wade resigned as a prosecutor in the case because of their previous relationship.
What can I say? I live the experience of a black woman who is attacked and over-sexualized. See, I'm so tired of hearing these idiots call my name as Fani in a way to attempt to humiliate me. Because like silly schoolboys, the name reminds them of a woman's rear, of her behind.
Willis did not mention anyone by name in her speech, but alluded to the moment Trump's former attorney, Rudy Giuliani, made an offensive remark about her at a Michigan church event last week.
I've got two prosecutors, Fani the hoe.
Willis responded to that this morning.
Very anti-Christian behavior celebrated. In fact, they cheer, celebrated, and laugh loudly.
This came just hours after CNN's Caitlin Collins interviewed Nathan Wade. A tense moment came with this question.
When did the romantic relationship between the two of you start?
There's been this effort to say that, okay, these exact dates are at issue, and these exact dates are, I'm getting signaled here.
A consultant to Wade interrupted the interview. They moved aside and spoke for a few moments. Then Collins resumed.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
Just to revisit the question, it was to clarify when the romantic relationship started and when it ended.
Sure. So, I believe that the public has, through the testimony and other interviews, the public has a clear snapshot that this is clearly just a distraction.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, what is this? I think that this is desperation, okay? And I'm going to tell you guys why I think it's desperation. Because Fani WIllis better be careful, okay? And part of the appeal that the defense team in the RICO case is putting forward here in order to get Fani WIllis removed has to do with her comments in these churches, okay? When she basically cries bigotry and racism and that she's subject to those things by the defense team, that can put the case in jeopardy, okay? I think they call that forensic misconduct. Even CNN's legal analyst, Eli Honig, acknowledged that, yeah, that could be a problem when it comes to this appeal.
We want to withdraw our guilty pleas, and then that'll be up to the judge. I do want to flag another issue, though, that's going to be in front of the Court of Appeals. There's the disqualification, the affair, the intermingling of finances. I agree with Judge Shinlin. I'm not so moved by that. I don't think the proof was clear enough. There is a separate issue that Trump and the other defendants are going to raise that I think is a bigger deal, which is Fani Willis's inappropriate comments about the case outside of court. Judge McAfee found those comments to be, quote, legally improper, and then he did nothing about it. And so the defense is going to argue to the Court of Appeals, if the prosecutor makes, quote, legally improper statements that impair the constitutional rights of the defendant, there needs to be a remedy for that.
But here's my only...
Yeah, so I personally believe that Fani Willis is lashing out because she knows that is over, right? She doesn't care about the case anymore, because if she actually cared, then she would recuse herself, right? That case could actually move forward if Fani Willis just decides that, hey, I'm just not going to be on it, right? But because she wants the glory, because she wants to be the one to say that, well, I took down Trump, I'm responsible. She wants to be the lead prosecutor, the main person. She's standing on the case, right? And the fact that she won't step down, she won't recuse herself, is actually really what's keeping the case from moving forward, okay? Because without her on the case, then you don't have to go through all these appeals because she is the issue, right? She's the issue. But I think she knows that she's cooked, okay? I mean, just 24 hours ago, she filed a motion to have the appeal dismissed so that the trial can move forward. However, it's probably a low likelihood that that will actually go through, that the appeals court would accept that. And I think she knows that. So at this point, I just don't think she gives a damn. I think she's just like, I'm going to lash out and say what I got to say. I'm a boo-hoo, whine, and cry victim, because she knows that the chance of the trial happening before the election is slim to none. And that's all she really cares about. She doesn't care about justice. What she cares about is elevating her career based off getting the former president. The fact is, her mission was to get the president before the election. That was the mission. Now, it looks like she's probably going to be unable to accomplish that mission unless some crazy turn of events happens, like the appeals court accepts her motion and dismisses the appeal, which again is unlikely. Again, it looks like it's not going to happen. Now she doesn't give a damn. Because if she actually gave a damn about the case, then she would shut the hell up, right? She wouldn't be making these types of comments. But the fact that she continues to make these comments, knowing that it's going to be an issue that the defense team is going to use against her, again, just shows you how reckless she is. She doesn't actually really care about this case because she knows that she's not actually really getting justice. This is really just about her career and going after Trump, which is what all these cases are about. None of these cases are about justice. None of these cases are about law and order. It's simply about Democrats trying to advance their own careers by politically prosecuting their opponents. That's what it's about. And now that it seems like she's not going to be able to get the benefits that she was looking for, which again was to have this tried and to have Trump convicted before the election, well, it's just like, who cares, right? Let me just sabotage the whole thing, which doesn't surprise me at all. Does not surprise me at all because, again, like I just told you guys, if she actually really gave a damn about justice, then she would recuse herself. But what she really cares about more than anything is herself, right? That's what she actually cares about. Now, she's blaming all these other people, but she really should be blaming herself because even the black liberal media, the pro-blacks, the black bourgeoisie, the Boulets, Roland Martin, even he's blaming Fani Willis and saying, this is on you.
I got to start with you. I had some people who were upset with me. They were like, Roland, I thought you were unfair. You were too tough on Fani Willis. Her decision to allow Nathan Wade, an individual she was involved with, to be on this case is why we are here. If he's not on the case, there is no delay. They can't try to get, now they could have tried other ways to get her disqualified, but this is all, I keep saying, this is all on, this was bad decision making. And now this case may not be heard even in 2025 and if Trump wins, you forget about it for 4 years. I understand they would have tried to get her disqualified some other way. But what you don't do is you don't gift wrap them this on a gold platter and say, here you go, knock yourself out. That to me is what is just nonsensical. And again, I got folks who've been mad at me, man. I just think you've been too hard on Sister Fani, and I have defended her. I love the fact that she indicted, going after him and stood firm. But I'm sorry, somebody has to say it. She screwed up.
Yeah, so probably one of the first and last times that I will agree with Roland Martin in that tiny segment there in which Roland Martin says Fani Willis screwed up. Yeah, I agree. She screwed around and screwed up the case, okay? And then she wants to blame everybody else except herself and the boohoo whine and cry racism and that she's been overly sexualized. When, again, the reason why this case is being delayed is quite literally because of her sexual behavior, her sexual conduct, okay? So, again, it's just hilarious. But you have, mainstream media outlets like CNN, they're afraid to criticize black women, okay? Because everybody knows that she screwed this up, she messed this up. But of course, CNN is going to come out here and to defend this woman and to pretend like she's the victim in this situation.
And Todd reporting, Brian, thank you very much. Let's discuss this and more with CNN legal analyst Elliot Williams and former federal prosecutor Elise Adamson. Elise, what are your thoughts on what we just heard from the district attorney, Fani Willis?
Yeah, well, I think Fani Willis is not wrong in what she said about this ugly trope of the over-sexualization of black women. This over-focus.
Listen, black women sexualize themselves more than any group of people on the planet, okay? I'm sick and tired of hearing black women boohoo, whine, and cry about being overly sexualized when they sexualize themselves more than anybody on the planet, okay? I'm sick and tired of it. They want to be able to engage in all types of degenerate behavior, but they don't want to be criticized for it, right? If you criticize them for participating in degeneracy and sexualizing themselves, then you're overly sexualizing them, even though they're the ones that are sexualizing themselves. Again, it's one of the most annoying things ever. These people really believe that they should not be criticized just because they're black and they're a woman. This is what they believe. And of course, CNN will have two black people talk about this because you can't have a white person come up here and to say anything critical about Fani Willis because Fani Willis is black. Amazing.
On a black woman's body in an effort to degrade black women is very, very real. And I can tell you from my own experience as being a woman of color, that it happens, and we can validate DA Willis in that experience. And we have seen examples of these attacks against her. I believe president even mispronounced her name as Fani and made it very clear that he was referring to a rear end. And there have been many examples of attacks on DA Willis since she indicted this RICO case. And it is absolutely despicable, and she has every right to be upset. Now, that being said, I think it is also important to note that we should not be conflating all of those horrendous attacks with the inquiry into her appointment of Nathan Wade. I think if any defense attorney had been given the evidence that Ashley Merchant was, that there had been a relationship between Nathan Wade and Fani Willis, they would have been duty bound to make hay out of it, just like they did. And I think Judge McAfee was also right to hold a hearing, an evidentiary hearing, to develop those facts and make sure there was no conflict of interest or financial benefit. And I understand that there were some tawdry elements about her love life that came out during that hearing, but I don't think that was the effort to discredit her through over-sexualization. I think that was an inquiry that, quite frankly, she opened the door to, she invited to, by having a relationship with Nathan Wade. So I think both can be true. I think Fani Willis can be upset, and I also think that the inquiry was valid.
Elliot, you heard Nathan Wade sidestep that question from Caitlin Collins about the timeline of that romantic relationship. How much does all of this hurt the optics around the Georgia case?
I would say all of it hurts the optics, Wolf, because what we're seeing here is something we're really not used to seeing, which isn't common, which is prosecutors speaking publicly. This is why prosecutors and, quite frankly, people who are involved in litigation typically don't speak. Every single word he says can get him, can gum up the case further and jeopardize the chances of convicting the defendants that he was trying to investigate and go after. So that timeline question is proof positive of sort of the pitfalls here for prosecutors' staff talking. He could end up contradicting himself, making a statement that could undermine public faith in their work, but more to the point, could just taint the jury pool. So there's all kinds of reasons. This is why it's so rare. You very rarely see prosecutors or senior staff speaking publicly in the media.
Well, that's because, again, they don't care about the case anymore. That's why I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you, they don't care anymore. They don't care because the whole point was to have Trump tried and convicted before the election. Now that they're not getting that, and it looks like there's a good chance that Trump could win, they just don't give a damn, right? They don't give a damn. Because otherwise, if they actually cared about justice, then, hey, they would shut the hell up. Nathan Wade would not be doing interviews. Fani Willis would stop going to the black church and boohoo, whine, and crying bigotry and just focus on trying to get the case going, right? And doing whatever she can do. But that's not what she's doing because it's about her, okay? It's about her career. It's not about justice. All this is a fraud, okay? It's a sham. This is not law and order, okay? This is chaos. They are going after Trump because he is their political opponent. So now that they can't really accomplish the mission that they were supposed to accomplish, they're just saying, screw the whole thing. And just like this guy said, just like Eli Honig said, it's like, listen, these people keep talking. They just going to keep screwing up the case. And it's so hilarious to me because the media is afraid to criticize her and to say, hey, you need to step down. You need to shut up or step down, right? They really should be saying both. But they can't do it because she's a black woman. Black women can't be criticized. So therefore, they're not even in a position to tell her that, if you really care about this case and justice, then, you might want to stop talking, right? You also might want to back away too. You might want to do that. But they can't. And that's the hilarious part about it. It's the same reason they can't fire Corinne Jean-Pierre. Because she's black and a lesbian. No, can't get rid of her. Can't criticize her. They might scream racism and bigotry, right? That's what they're going to do. It's so funny. Anytime you have these diversity hires do your dirty work, what happens is that when they inevitably screw up because they're not qualified, when they screw up, you're stuck with it. You're stuck with it. And again, this is what the Democrats deserve. This is what the media deserves. Because they was out here hyping up these black women. Oh, black women, they're going to save the democracy. And then look what happened, right? Look what happened relying on these people. Chaos. Which, again, shouldn't be any surprise, right? This is what happens when you have a bunch of liberal black women running stuff. Chaos, right? So, again, I'm not surprised by it. I'm also not surprised that Fani Willis continues to muddy up her own case by talking, okay, even though she probably should stop talking. But, you know, she never gave a damn about the case in the first place outside of it being used to advance her own career in the assignment. So, again, now that she can't really accomplish that, or it looks unlikely that she will, she's just sabotaging the whole thing. So I think that's what's happening here. I think she's angry, and she really, really, really just wants to lash out and to play the victim. And, you know, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.